It appears the LeBron effect is already benefiting the Philadelphia 76ers. The NBA released their full schedule yesterday, and the Sixers got their schedule. And just want to talk a few minutes about the takeaways and all that stuff. Now that I am back from doing off-season trips and stuff, we're going to have more off-season content hopefully in the next few days. And what I noticed right off the bat is, like I mentioned earlier, the LeBron effect. We have 13 sets of back-to-backs, which is already way fewer than what we had last year. I think we had 16 last year. Weirdly enough, we were really good in sets of back-to-backs, more like 12 and 4 in the second night of a back-to-back. But 13 back-to-backs nonetheless, which is obviously beneficial for Joel Embiid and LeBron James. And also, the Sixers are tied for the fewest 3 games in 4 night sets. And really, you just couldn't ask for a lighter schedule load than that, considering that the Sixers have had a fuck ton of back-to-backs, I feel like, the last few years. Now, 13 is obviously still a lot. You can't really ever eliminate back-to-backs, but 13 is still plenty good. Also, hopefully those will be the only games, and a few others, obviously, here and there that Embiid will miss. I haven't done a video on it on this specific channel yet. I did do a video about Joel Embiid and his health going into the season on the Sly Hooper main channel. You could check that out. I made the case for why I think he's actually going to play more games than we think this year. But the photos of Joel Embiid look very encouraging. Really, he's the thinnest I think he's been since his rookie year or coming out of Kansas. At the very least, it's somewhere around that range, because I really have never seen him this thin in a long time. And now that he finally has had a healthy offseason, this was clearly something he's been working on since the season ended. I don't think this is something you can do in like 2 weeks or whatever after LeBron signs. You're like, oh, I better get my shit together. He's been clearly in the lab this summer working on his body, and now he's been posting a few pictures after being basically silent on social media and semi-trolling, not mentioning any of the basketball stuff that has happened. He's been posting more the last few weeks, training with Tyrese Maxey, training at the Villanova gym, training at the Sixer facility with a bunch of people that are already there already on the team. They're already getting their work in. Very encouraged by that. And only having 13 back-to-backs is only going to help with the load managing and not having so many sets of 3 games in 4 nights. That's going to help as well. Also, the one game I was looking for on the schedule was the road game in Denver, because Denver media and Denver fans are still hung up on the fact that they think Joel Embiid ducks Denver, which is one of the stupidest basketball things I have ever seen come out of a fan base over the last, 5 years now? Even the last 3 years, I have seen actual Denver media, not just Twitter randos or whatever, because sports fans will be stupid sports fans. We all do it. But actual Denver media podcasters still think that Joel Embiid is ducking Denver, even though it's been well documented the injuries he's been dealing with the last few years. Last year, he missed 13 straight games with an oblique injury, and you still had media saying that Embiid is ducking Denver. They are stupid. And there's 2 things I want from this. Really, I hope one of these 2 things happens. And it's very simple, obviously. He either plays or he doesn't play. If he doesn't play, cool. I want Denver media to display how stupid they are, that they still think Embiid is ducking Denver. But also, if he does play, I hope we go into Denver and smoke them. Hopefully, everybody's in the lineup and we smoke them. But this is later in the regular season. This is like with 7 games remaining. The Denver game in Denver is on March 28th. And as much as I'd like him to play there, it would also be very funny if they didn't play all their guys there, because they are hopefully at that point load managing and making sure everybody's healthy for the playoffs. But that was the other game I was looking at. I just wanted to talk about how half of the fan base in Denver is stupid, and how some of their media base is very stupid for still thinking that there's ducking allegations. And then really the first 10 games of this season, we're going to be tested right off the bat. I mean, you got New York on banner night, obviously. Hopefully we can ruin the Knicks banner night. But then you got Cleveland, Milwaukee, that should be a win. Detroit, Indiana's back with Tyrese Halliburton. New York again. Charlotte, that's going to be a tougher game than people think because they have shooting all across the board. Chicago should be an easy win because I don't think the Bulls, even with their improved talent base, I still think they're going to be, while not as bad as lottery teams of yesteryear, they're still going to be a lottery team nonetheless. Then you got Detroit at Cleveland again before you go back to Chicago in the 11th game. So the first 10 games, 2 of them are going to be against lotto teams pretty much. 8 of them are going against either contenders or stone cold playoff teams. So they're going to be tested right off the bat. And the Eastern Conference and the NBA at large in general really has gotten better with their talent base. There's a lot of movement this summer. Surprisingly, I thought the second apron also meant that we were not going to get a summer like this again. And we might have just had probably the best offseason I've ever seen, just in terms of the sheer amount of movement. But the Sixers are going to be tested early. Can't forget the 34 nationally televised games, the LeBron effect once again. This team's going to be in the fishbowl way more than at any point in the Joel Embiid era, even when the teams were good, even the teams that had a chance to at least go to the Eastern Conference Finals, more than at any other point in the Embiid era. This team is going to be in the fishbowl. They're going to be hyper-analyzed after every game. There are going to be people who parachute in to this Sixers season having not watched much of the Sixers previously, and we've already seen that already with some of the takes that have come out about this team and who's going to be affected by the arrivals of LeBron and Jaylen Brown and all that stuff. We could tell which people are just now parachuting in, but now everybody is going to be watching a lot of Sixers, and they're going to be in the fishbowl, and there are going to be some takes that annoy me, but this is what we want, right? We thought these days were behind us, and by we, I mean Sixer fans, because I'm not an all Philadelphia sports fan. I'm not from Philadelphia. Been a lifelong California resident. I'm just strictly talking as a Sixer fan here. This is what we wanted, right? We never thought we would see these days over the next few years. We thought the contending days were behind us, and we were just totally ready to watch this team die a slow death in the droves of mid and mediocrity while Paul George and Joel Embiid's contracts expire. We waste a lot of Maxi's prime. But no, we have a championship ceiling, and now we get to see how this team grows, what the downs are going to be like, what the ups are going to be like, which I think we're going to see some very high highs throughout the season. I think offensively this team is going to be really good. But there are a lot of good teams in the NBA, and I'm looking at the schedule, and I'm just like, yeah, there's going to be some really tough teams. Like, Boston's going to be the 12th game. I still think Boston's going to be a really, really good regular season team. Toronto, I am not so sure because of the Kawhi Leonard stuff. But even Brooklyn, even Milwaukee and Chicago, I talk shit about them as lottery teams because they are lottery teams, but they still have more talent than they did last year. I just don't think there's going to be easy W's in the NBA because of the new tanking rules, which I still think are stupid, but it does provide a level of, okay, these lottery teams are actually going to have to try to field NBA teams on the court. But then there's contenders out west, obviously, and still good teams out west like the Rockets, the Lakers, etc. Even a team like the Portland Trail Blazers, that's not going to be an easy win, so to speak. There's going to be a lot of tougher games than what we expect, and the NBA is just better than it's ever been. I think this season's going to be awesome, but less back-to-backs, good for Joel Embiid's knees. The LeBron effect already helping out Embiid's knees. Very interested to see how half of the Denver media base acts by the time March 28th comes around. Looking forward, actually, to some of the Oklahoma City and San Antonio games, too, because I want to see what a skinny version of Joel Embiid looks like against those teams, because those are the two teams to me that are the favorites to come out of the West. Then, of course, you got 2 West Coast road trips. The Disney on Ice trip, that's going to be right around Christmas. We get all the holiday games, too. Forgot to mention that. You get, Thanksgiving's Eve, Martin Luther King Day, Christmas against the Lakers. I get why they did the Lakers. I would have personally liked the Celtics, but I get the whole LeBron makes his return to LA, that type of thing. But yeah, we're getting closer to the new season, man. It really is coming up fast, and I just can't wait. I haven't been this hyped for a Sixers season in a long time, and that's crazy to say because, again, at July 1st at 3:15 p.m., I was just thinking if we just make a few marginal moves, we'll be a little bit better. This team will be a little bit more watchable. Now look where we are.